So Barbara's back. I think this is Reel 5 on Gay Pride Month. I'm losing track. I think it's Reel 5. Let me write this down. So, I have to say, my friend Chuck and Tom, obviously, they were the hub of a lot of people. And a lot of the parties were at their house. And yes, they were my introduction to LA. So I do have a few more stories here. So I won't qualify them. I'll just tell you so another story. One night we went out for dinner, always out for dinner. We went with about 6 people. And by this time there was another woman on the scene. Thank God. Thank God someone else came in. And so anyway, so we go to dinner. We go back to Chuck and Tom's house. And they put on a movie. So the woman left, the 4 guys are sitting on the couch, and I decided to kind of lie down on the carpet in front of them, right, kind of like by their feet, and watching the movie. They're watching the movie behind me. So I fell asleep. I fell sound asleep. And now, mind you, I have never seen a porn movie. I told you I'm a square. And I must have slept over an hour, and they did not wake me up. I found out later why. So at some point, I wake up. Now, they started with a normal movie when I fell asleep. I open up my eyes, and there are 2 men, need I say more, on the screen. It was a porn movie, and I let out such a scream and jumped up, and I said, turn that off, turn that off. And they knew at some point I was going to wake up, but they knew since I fell asleep, it was their opportunity to put in their own little movies. So that was the closest I came, and I did see the scene of seeing a porn movie. That's the closest I came to seeing a porn movie, and it was hysterical. I'm telling you, these things are more funny now. Back then, I was much more serious about it. So that was the porn movie, and then the Vegas. We went, I told you, to see Diana Ross in Las Vegas, and there was one particular time we went. And I was in my shorts, my running shorts, and tiny top, and I had like tiny breasts. I was tiny. And because I see the pictures and I'm going, what happened? Where did these things come from? So we're walking on the main street during the day waiting for the show. It was myself and Tom and Chuck and 2 other guys, and it started to pour. It started to pour so fast and so hard that the water was right like above our calves, approaching the knees. That's how fast the rain came down. And we all had to take off our shoes. I think one of the guys was wearing pants. He had to roll up his pants. And there we are, like walking around the main drag, everybody's holding up their shoes. Walking through Las Vegas, looking at all the hotels, and I don't even know how that was possible for the water to go that high. So I do have pictures of that. I do have pictures of the guys. They have pictures of me kind of holding up our shoes in the water up to definitely over our calves. So that was one of the Diana Ross escapades. And if you look at my other reels, you'll hear about the story of me taking pictures of Diana Ross. And if you look for it, I tell you what she told me when I was taking pictures of her. So you have to check back there. And so I got the Vegas one. I've got the gay porn movie, and I'll throw in now, without mentioning names, one of my friends was getting a nose job. And I volunteered to take him to the hospital. And in the right time, come pick him up. And when did I have the dream? Oh, the night before I took him. I had never met anyone who had a nose job. I had a girlfriend, but I wasn't in on it. But anyway, I committed to take him, and I committed to bring him home. So the night before, we arranged the time, after work, I would go take him. And that night, I had a dream, a horrible dream. I knew that they had to break the bone. I couldn't let my consciousness think about any more than that. I just thought, how did they break the bone of the nose? And so that night before, I have a dream, vivid dream of a room full of people lying down on not even beds, like operating tables. And there's the doctor with a hammer. And the dream was that this doctor goes from bed to bed to bed, from gurney to gurney to gurney, and just hammers the nose, hammers the next nose, hammers the next nose, hammers the next nose. He's just going around the room hammering noses. Talk about the subconscious mind. This is how I stored it in my mind, because I couldn't make sense of how they broke the nose. I still don't really know. I think I might. So into my subconscious went this dream of someone just going from nose to nose to nose with a hammer and just breaking every single nose. So the next day I go to pick him up. I do not tell him this dream. I do not tell him this dream. And then I waited. I think I waited. And poor T. He was 10 years younger than me and Chuck, so we were different generations. And he comes out with all the gauze in his nose, and my heart went out to him. So I took him home. I forgot how long he had to be with that, but I also volunteered to take him back. And I still didn't tell him about the dream. And I can't believe I'm saying this on a podcast. So we go back, and I had already had some discussions with people about nose jobs. And they told me that the worst part of a nose job was pulling out that packing out of the nose. And I had fantasized potentially about getting a nose job. I just wanted it a little bit more, thinner, less ethnic looking. And once I went through that dream, I said, never, no one's breaking my nose. So I'm driving T to the hospital to take out the packing. I didn't dare tell him what everyone told me, that it's the worst part of the nose job is when they pull that out, because it's all the way up. And he survived. I took him home. And after he was all okay, swollen for quite a few months, I did then tell him my dream, which he was so glad I didn't tell him ahead of time. So that was another Chuck and Tom story of friendship. Good friends that I miss. So, I think I might have another few stories to tell you from another reel. Yeah, I think I'll do another reel. Okay, bye.